Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to bring my results straight away in the video, because when I'm watching videos that's what I'm watching for, and sometimes if I don't have time to watch the whole video and I find I have to come back later. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my week in a minute, and it was not the perfect week, but I'm not the perfect person. So let's say I think I had a really good result this week because I got a maintain. Now in a lot of ways that is the result I deserve, but in some other ways, which I'm going to share in a moment, that is not the result I deserve. But it's taught me that this programme, this plan is swings and roundabouts, and I am learning slowly but surely to look at the bigger picture. So I maintained this week and I'm 9 stone 2. Still looking to be back in the 8s, but not racing to get there. Okay. We've had quite a pleasant week. It's been a busy week. We've still got the decorator around and stuff like that, but he's mainly worked outside this week, so that's been fine, and the weather's been good, and everything's been fine and dandy. It doesn't impact on my life too much, because when he's not working indoors it doesn't affect the way I cook or the way I eat. So I've no excuses, and I'm not looking to make excuses, and I have had 7 SP days and really enjoyed them. That's been really good. But twice this week, and I'm going to be really honest with you, and I'm going to tell you what I did, because if I don't tell you and I don't remind myself, I won't see how I got to where I am, or maybe why I had the lucky escape that I had. Okay, so I can't even recall what nights it was, Joe, can you?
Sunday.
Sunday night and, was it
Wednesday.
Wednesday, or was it Tuesday? Tuesday. Sunday night and Tuesday night I fell headfirst into chocolate. Now the first time, which was Sunday night, I had in mind what I wanted. I was absolutely craving chocolate, and when this comes over me there is no explaining it, and I've tried and tried and tried, and I've looked at it every which way, but what happens is I want it, I've got to have it, I'm desperate. It becomes more important than anything else. I lose sight of the weight loss I've had so far, which is currently 12 stone 12. I lose sight of the fact that weight loss is more important to me than any food I can eat. I lose sight of the fact that feeling slim is better than any food I can eat. And I am totally focused on I've got to have chocolate. Now, I was reading a book a couple of weeks ago, and it was just a crime novel written by Elizabeth George. And in that there's a police officer called Barbara Havers. And Barbara always wears, she's quite a little scruffy person in her own way, but that's her style. And in it she always wears t-shirts. She's a CID police officer. She wears t-shirts with slogans on the front. And she got this t-shirt on, and the slogan on it was, "On the 8th day, God invented bacon." And I had to stop and think about it. And then I realised, oh, she's a police officer. She means pig, doesn't she? Pig, police, whatever. I'm not calling them pigs, but you know what I mean. And I was thinking, you know, if that was my t-shirt, mine would have to say, "On the 8th day, the devil invented chocolate." Because chocolate is my drug of choice. I've quit alcohol, which was a good thing for me. I've quit fags, which was a big thing for me. And it's 4 years soon since we stopped smoking, Joe, isn't it? 4 years in July.
Yep.
So they've gone, and I was a 20-day marble, 20 plus a day marble girl, plus as many of his Amber Leaf roll-ups as I could scrounge. So I wasn't a light smoker. So that was a big thing. But why can't I quit chocolate? I want to, because as one of my friends on this plan, Susan, said to me in the week, you know, maybe you could just factor in a little bit every day. I know I can't do that. I know that doesn't work for me. I've tried it endlessly. Once I have a taste for it, I am hooked. It's a bit like using a recreational drug to me. So, on Sunday night I had 3, I'm not listing this just for my pleasure, but I need to say it, I need to be honest. I had 3, what are they called, Joe? Magnums. Praline and hazelnut magnums, and oh my god, they are good. So 3 of those, and I can't even, did I have a muffin? I might have had a muffin. I can't honestly remember, but it was, the focus was on the magnums. That's what I wanted, that's what I had. And then back on plan. fine, no problem. No resentment, no ill feelings, back on plan on Monday. And then on Tuesday night it hit me again. And I ended up with a box of almond magnums, not realising until I got home there's actually 4 in there. Now when I was telling my friend at group this morning, she said, but why don't you stop after 1 and just sin 1 a day for 4 days? Well, could you do that? Because I can't. Because if I have the 1, then there's 3 in the freezer shouting, for God's sake eat me, Jane, for God's sake eat me, because once I've gone I can't harm you. And I know that's where my problem is. I know I can't do moderation in chocolate. And I also ate, and I know you'll all have seen them, you know the little flakes that you can put in an ice cream, like a 99 flake? I ate a box of those, 14 in a box. I don't even know, are they 3 or 4 sins each? And it's not because I wanted to, because while I'm doing it, I don't want to be doing it. I mean, when we actually went out, we had to go to the supermarket anyway because we needed something else. Joe had been at work, so we ended up going to the supermarket in the evening. And when we were in the supermarket, I said to Joe, I want some chocolate. We were in Morrison's, and we don't go to our local Morrison's because the yoghurt that Joe has is only sold in a Morrison's that's about 6 miles away, so we have to go there. I want some chocolate. And so Joe's like, okay, if you're sure. So we go to the confectionery aisle, we're standing in front of this massive bank of chocolate. What kind do you want? I don't know. So Joe must have read to me 50 or 60 different chocolate bars. Do you want a this? Do you want a that? You know, no, that's not what I want. And he was going through the ones that he knows I like. Okay, well, when in doubt, fall back on your absolute favourite, which is Cadbury's Whole Nut. Don't want that. Cadbury's chocolate's not the same anymore. Don't want that. Right, what about a bit of Lindor or Lindt? Do you like their chocolate? Don't want that. Okay, what about a bit of Green and Black's 85%? You really like that? Don't want that. Inside of me, I wanted all of it, but I couldn't just choose one of it. So I walked away. That in itself is a bit of a non-scale victory. I've never done that before, have I, Joe?
No.
Never walked away from chocolate before. But when we got to the ice cream section, I know what I want. I want Magnums. So I ended up with the almond Magnums and then the chocolate flakes and 2 little Portuguese custard tarts, which is not like me. You know, for 3 years at Slimming World, or the best part of 3 years, I didn't have a problem with any of this. It's starting to creep in. And I'm going to ask Joe to read a piece in a moment that Naomi read out to us at group this morning that has really helped me because it spoke to me about my behaviour this week. And the bottom line for me is either I'm going to do this plan properly or I'm going to get fat. And I don't use the F word lightly. Been there, done it. Over my adult life, we'll say from the age of 19, which is when I first joined Slimming World with half a stone to lose, if only, from that age to the age of 59, which I'm now 61, so I was 59 when I got to Target, I reckon I must have lost and gained somewhere around 40 stone. Because I've gone down 6, up 7, down 8, up 9, down 3, up 4. All of my life, all of my adult life I've done that, and it's got to stop. Because I do not want to be buried in a coffin that resembles a bloody packing crate, and I have seen that happen. I've seen that happen, I'm not joking. I've got to take this seriously. So I'm either in it for the long term and I'm going to do it properly, or I'm going to get fat. And believe me, I do not want to get fat again. So, we were in Morrison's, that happened, came home, ate the stuff, and then the guilt begins. But the next morning, I wake up and magically, as if somebody's flicked a switch, I'm back on plan. But I can't live like that, it's not the answer. So I'm being really honest with you about what I did this week. The result I got was a maintain. Now, that is not because I got away with anything. I think the only saving grace there for me was I did another SP week. And if I had stuck to the SP week, I'd not eaten the chocolate, I believe I could have had another 2.5 pound loss. That would have had me back into the 8 stones. So I've cut my own nose off to spite my face this morning. And was it worth it? Rather this week, not this morning, but was it worth it? No. Because the feelings and the the guilt and the disappointment in myself, not in anybody else. Because when I go shopping and Joe's with me, if I say I want to buy something, it's not his responsibility to stop me. I put that burden on my husband for too many years. Don't let me have it. So he says, no, you're not having this. So you scream at him, yes, I am going to do what I bloody well want. You can't live like that either. So I take ownership and I take responsibility for the way I eat today. Any results I get on a Saturday, be they good or bad, are my results. And I'm going to own them. So, when I was in Morrison's, Joe spotted this t-shirt. Never bought any clothes in Morrison's before. Our Morrison's, near where we live, don't do very many, and what they do aren't very nice. But you actually saw this, didn't you, Joe, from a distance? And I have to say, if you're in Morrison's and you look at the clothes, their sizes are brilliant. This is a 10, and there's bags of room in it. And I can't remember how much it was, 10, 12 pounds, something like that. But if you're into vests, they've got some really nice ones, haven't they? And a really good selection of women's vests, from like a £5 upwards. So, a couple of things I've been blessed with this week. One was my decorator and the fabulous job he's doing for us. 2 was Joe, who took me shopping to find, can you fetch my bag out of the kitchen? I think it's in the kitchen. A couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I bought a new summer handbag. And it was, Joe's got it. Take it. It was actually in TK Maxx, and I went looking for a summer handbag with my friend Nikki, and she said, tell me what you're looking for and I'll pass you a load and you can choose by touch. So I said, I want blue, I want big, and I want something that sits really comfortably on my shoulder. And she passed me quite a few, and I chose this one by touch because it's got perforations and it's duckhead blue, which was one of the colours I had in mind. It's Ralph Lauren, but it was a TK Maxx buy, so it's half the price that it would have been if it was on the high street. But when we had the lounge done, and before we had teal cushions and everything, I said to Joe, I want curtains this colour. So we went off to town, didn't we? I want a light shade this colour. We went off to town, and bless him, he found me the perfect curtains. Well, I think they're perfect, I love them. And the perfect light shade in John Lewis in this colour. When my friend came around last night, my friend Liz, she said, you just need a splash of the colour over there, because you've got a chocolate brown suite, well, it's colour brown. You need a splash of the colour over there. So she said, it's either buy something or chuck your handbag on the sofa. So my handbag might live on the sofa in future. But anyway, so that was a blessing this week, because Joe found me exactly what I wanted. And I said to Susan, I will show you my new curtains. The other blessing this week, I've got a really good friend called Val. And one of the things that Joe and I both suffer from is hay fever. And last year, Joe bought himself a Dyson fan with a HEPA filter. And he has it in his studio, and it takes the pollen out of the air, and it makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, I never get hay fever or allergies in my room.
He doesn't get hay fever or allergies in his room, he gets them everywhere else. We were out the other day, we went to pick the car up from service and MOT. His eyes were streaming, he couldn't stop sneezing. Oh, you were a mess, weren't you?
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Because where we walked up to get the car from, there were loads of different kinds of lime trees and different things. When we got home, into a studio, had a filter on, 10 minutes later you wouldn't know he got hay fever. One of my friends, my really, really good friends, Val, has been so proud of what I've achieved at Slimming World and before Slimming World, that she wanted to buy me a present to, like, congratulate me, I suppose. So she went out and she bought me, can you show it, Jeff?
Yep.
She bought me the same Dyson fan with a HEPA air filter. So we don't get hay fever in the lounge now, do we?
No.
These are brilliant. Blows hot air, cold air, acts like an air conditioning unit. As I say, this one's got the HEPA air filter, so it takes all the pollen out of the air. And our lives have been so much better this week because the pollen count's been really, really high. And instead of really struggling, we've kind of stayed indoors and coped with it. Our next door neighbour has the most amazing flower garden, and our bathroom's open. We live in a bungalow and our bathroom's open onto her drive. So even if we only have our bathroom windows open like half an inch, the pollen just floods in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's too much.
And we really, really struggle. So I want to say thank you, Val. You really, really blessed my socks off this week. I'm so grateful. Right, can you read that piece that Naomi read this piece at the start of the group meeting today, It wasn't specifically aimed at me, but it felt like it really was, and it's really helped me. She read it to encourage and motivate all of us. We had people at group last week who were struggling and was saying, you know, I'm retaining fluid because it's hard, and I'm this and I'm that and the other. And Naomi just said to them, let's all stop, you know, looking back over the week. Let's all just go back to basics, do what we need to do. Those same people came in this week with £4 losses and £5.5 losses and £3.5 losses just because they went back to basics. So sometimes it's a good reminder for all of us. But yeah, this piece that Naomi read out in group, I'll get Jo to read it and then I'll just finish off with where I intend to go from here. Thanks,
Okay.
Jo.
Sometimes when we don't get the weight loss we feel we deserve, we can start to lose faith. We can start to think the plan doesn't work for us anymore. Then we start to change what we're doing. Maybe have smaller portions, live on salads, stop eating carbs, don't eat after 6 p.m. None of these are part of food optimizing, but we start to believe all the myths about weight loss because we're scared we will gain. The plan will work every single week, right up to target if we follow it properly every week. Trust it, it's usually other things that stop it being effective. So number 1, a treat day after weigh-in will affect our weight loss if uncounted or over sin allowance. Number 2, a night out not counting the drinks will affect our weight loss. Number 3, not weighing and measuring healthy extras will affect our weight loss. And number 4, estimating or guessing sins will affect weight loss. You can't really butter a slice of bread with a 2-sin teaspoon of butter. Keep the faith, you can do this.
Thanks, Jo. Now those things like, you know, the treat after weigh-in and losing faith in the plan and cutting out carbs and what was the other bits there? They're just about all related to me. You know, in the fact that first part, Jo.
Yeah, not eating after 6 p.m.
Well, I don't eat after dinner in the evening, but I have never done that on the whole of my journey. So, but what was the other one?
That was the live on salads, smaller portions, stop eating carbs, not eating after 6 p.m.
Yeah, but those not eating carbs, smaller portions, living on salads, that's diet mentality, isn't it? And most of us will have lived like that for a massive part of our lives. Now this week I have been trying to eat salads again, but I have to be really careful what I put with it. I can't just have like leaves and a bit of ham or leaves and a bit of chicken. That to me, that is diet food in my mind because of the way I've grown up and because of the way I've experienced dieting. And I know that'll send me doolally tap. But smaller portions, I can't go there. I won't go there. I never have, while I've been on this plan, eaten small portions. Have I, Jo? I don't eat. I mean, when I have a salad, it's in a big bowl.
Oh yeah, it's in a big bowl, yeah.
When
and
I have my
breakfast isn't
breakfast,
small.
I never have half. I've never eaten half a tub of quark. I have eaten 2 at a time, but I've never eaten half a tub. Because to me, that for me isn't enough. So when I make my breakfast up with 50 grams of all bran, it's a whole tub of quark and then fruit or whatever with it. I actually find that if I put my all bran in the bowl and add 80 mils of water and then mix a Tesco quark into it, the consistency is gorgeous and the taste is amazing. I don't know why at the moment I'm going off Asda quark a bit. I've always liked that one the best, but for the last fortnight from our local Asda it's been a bit like powdery. It's almost like it's got a powder that's not properly mixed into it. Now whether that was just a batch and I need to go back to it, but this week I've been buying Tesco's, which at the little Tesco is 95p, but the main Tesco is 90p. And I'm really enjoying the Tesco quark. Now, all the times I did this plan over many, many years, when I saw the word quark, I thought, yuck. I actually never ate quark until I came to Slimming World this time. And I have to say, quark has been one of my saviours. It really works for me. Because now that I've alleviated a lot of that sweet tooth treat, apart from the chocolate, I actually find quark sweet enough on its own. If somebody had said that to me when I first started Slimming World, I used to mix it with Muller Lite to get some sweetness into it. But now in the evenings, if I've had my evening meal and I want a dessert, which probably happens once a week with me, I'll go and get a tub of quark and a teaspoon. and that's enough for me. So, yeah, it's a fine line we walk, and it's a different line for all of us, because where I say I can't do chocolate in moderation, I could not have a multi-bag of anything that had chocolate on it in the house, because it just crucifies me. I literally am torturing myself knowing where it is in the house. And even if I say to Joe, hey look, I've got a bag of, little bag of, the little multi-bags of Maltesers, hide these for me. Within an hour, my mind's going, where would he have hidden it? How can I find it? Where would he have put it? He's tall, he'll have put it up somewhere high. I've been known to get the step ladders out while he's at work and go looking for it. He probably took it with him to work because he's wiser than I am.
Oh, sorry, you're at 20 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I can't do that. I can't do moderation. I am a very, very greedy person. So this week, it's got to be back to plan and stick to plan. Excuse me, and stop face planting yourself in Magnums, Jane. The ironic thing is that now I've had the hazelnut and praline, whatever it's called, Magnum. The almond one is a big disappointment. I don't want that one again. I'm terrible. I just got such an addictive pattern of behaviour around chocolate. It honestly is my drug of choice. So as I said earlier in the video, I believe on the 8th day the devil invented chocolate. I just wish I had a way to give it him back. So maybe I just need to steer clear. Grow up, Jane. You don't need to eat chocolate. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. I don't need to eat chocolate. It is not going to change my life for the better. The only thing it does is put me into sabotage or self-destruct mode. Now, I'm not saying that's true for you. Some people love it and they can cope with it and they can have it in moderation. I'm not one of those people. And I need to be honest with it. I need to say to it, you have no part in my life. And if occasionally I trip and I fall and I land head first in it, that's life. Nobody's perfect. I'm going to have to learn not to beat myself up if it happens occasionally, but I don't need to be looking to do it once or twice a week. So, hope you've all had a good week. We certainly have, haven't we?
Yep.
And I'm going to go forward. And as I said, I've eaten more corn. I love the corn patties. Is that what you call them? Patties?
Patty, I think.
Yeah, they are really nice. I thank you, Tess, for the recommendation for those. Because chopped up on a salad with some good pickles and different bits and bobs, and maybe, if you like rice or pasta or jacket potato, with me it's Heinz 5 beans goes really well with it. But that's me. Anyway, have a good week, and we will be back next week, and hopefully there'll be a little less of me. Take care. See you next week. Cheers.